Yeah, so going back to the article, so you always say you were drinking a glass of whiskey, you set it down, you reach down, you pick up the gun, and you shoot. And the article says, at just past 8 p.m. on April 16th, Drew looked around. He was confused. What happened? Why am I still here? He saw blood everywhere. He wanted to wipe it up. Get off the couch, he told himself. Maybe someone will want to keep it. He lay on the hardwood floor. 30 minutes passed. He held his head, tried to stem the bleeding. He grabbed a dirty towel. It didn't help. He decided to shower. When he stepped in, disorientation hit. He slipped and smacked his head on the handle, square on the entry wound. It still didn't hurt. How? Why? He curled in a ball on the shower floor.
The water ran over him. He dried off and collapsed on his bed. The blood in his mouth turned his stomach, so he returned to the bathroom. He didn't want to throw up on the carpet. More cleanup for his family. As he bent over the toilet, his head struck the porcelain. He peeled himself up and tried to brush his teeth. How ridiculous, he thought. Guy with a hole in his head, brushing his teeth. Instead, he glugged mouthwash to drown out the taste. He shoved toilet paper up his nostrils to keep the blood from dripping down his throat. Back to the bedroom. It was around midnight. 4 hours after he pulled the trigger, as Drew closed his eyes, he thought, this is where I'm going to die. Man, you can't imagine how hard that is to read.
Yeah, it's hard to hear.
No, I'm sorry about that, man.
No, it really is. And, you go through this situation, and there's so much to peel back, man. It really is. In those situations, it's, this happens, and then you go through these steps. You get in the shower, you clean up, you brush your teeth. I mean, what is going through?
Yeah, and to me, it's everything is about everyone else.
Yeah.
Here you have a gun wound to your head. The expectation is that it's all going to be over, and it's not. But all you're thinking about is it's a mess for someone else.
Yes.
They may want this. So, I mean, question is that I have, as you're going through this, at what point, when did it register that, man, this isn't it for me? There's more. Or was it, when was that, when those thoughts actually came back into your mind?
What do you mean exactly? I'm sorry.
It's so you're going through and you're in the shower and you're gargling mouthwash and you think that, hey, I'm going to die, but I just haven't yet. At what point did you realize I'm supposed to live?
So in the moment, it was around 11:30, 12 o'clock the next day when I looked at myself in the mirror for the first time and had a thought towards the future regarding baseball. That was like when it clicked in the moment. But looking back, I was doing all kinds of things looking towards the future and realizing I was meant to live. I mean, yeah, in the moment, all my thoughts were to clean up and not make a mess for my family, for people to clean up, like just make it as easy as possible. If my family wanted to sell the couch, like everything was for other people in the moment. But a part of me also has realized that a lot of those things was myself, like my subconscious realizing that I was meant to live this whole time, and it was a survival instinct. I was drinking the next morning. I woke up somehow. I drank a bunch of water because I thought that since I lost so much blood, I needed to hydrate myself. Someone who is ready to die doesn't do that.
That's right. Yeah.
So I've realized that I was doing a lot of things a lot of things leading towards life before it finally hit me in the mirror when I was thinking about not being able to play baseball again. And then I caught myself and I was like, oh my, like in this moment, we're worried about playing baseball. And then I caught myself again and thought, well, if we're thinking about playing baseball, then we must be thinking towards the future and surviving this. So what are we going to do? So that's when it kind of clicked. And then there was a time frame of a couple hours of wondering if that's really what I wanted. So I laid there for a couple more hours trying to contemplate, going back and forth, which decision I wanted to make. Because most of the morning I was I was in so much pain the next morning that I had a ton of thoughts of just doing it again, just from a pure take me out of my misery type mindset. So, from noon until about 3:15 ish, it was only two thoughts going through my mind. It was trying again or calling 911. And I think the craziest thing about that whole morning was around 9:30. I was laying, a lot of times I was also laying on the floor of my bed because I didn't want to, or at the floor of my room because I didn't want to dirty up my bed. Because again, like I didn't want to, maybe my family would use it or sell it. But I was laying on the floor and I heard my phone go off. Didn't think anything of it. But later so when I was walking back from the living room into the eventual mirror time in my bathroom, I had grabbed my phone around that time too. And after I had the moment in the mirror, I went and laid on my bed and checked my phone for the first time. And there was two messages from my dad. First one was, "Hey, is it okay to use your garage in 10 minutes?" And while I was laying on the floor earlier, like around 9:30 again, I remember I was hearing banging outside, but I remember thinking like, dang, that sounds very close to my house. Like, what is that? But again, like obviously circumstances, I didn't go look, and then the second text message was from my dad, said, "Thanks, see you later," or something. It was something but just saying thank you. So my dad was at my house working out in my garage while all this was unfolding. Wow. And it just blows my mind, the idea of maybe him walking in, and he wouldn't. That's the thing. That's the kind of guy he is. He's just so respectful that he wouldn't have come in without permission. But if for some reason he did, and he walked in on that and saw that, I can't even imagine what a father would have done. And, especially someone who cares about me as much as a father that cares about me as much as he does. So, all that was happening, and leading up to about 3:00, I made my way back out to the couch because I knew, again, I was in so much pain and I was just suffering physically as much as I was mentally finally. And, I made it out to the couch where my gun was and where I did it the night before, and held my gun in my left hand and held my phone dialed 911 in my right hand and just sat there and stared at them for 15, 20 minutes and eventually chose life.